Decades ago, it was considered science fiction conceiving a baby in a test tube. It's now known as in vitro fertilization, a procedure that's so common, more than 8 million babies around the world have been born through IVF since. Had it not been for those pioneering women brave enough to enter that sphere back then, we wouldn't be where we are today. Tonight, we introduce you to one of those brave women, the first in Colorado to have a successful IVF exactly 40 years ago.
I had a goal, and it was really a single-minded goal to be a mother.
Ellen Weir, a Colorado College graduate and kindergarten teacher, met her husband, Peter Casey, a stockbroker here in the Springs. They married in 1979. Both wanted children right away.
We were old. We were 29.
But time marched on, and the children didn't come. Ellen earlier had a devastating infection from an experimental IUD, or intrauterine device. The scar tissue completely closing her fallopian tubes.
I could not get pregnant naturally at all.
The realization was not an easy one to bear.
I felt like it was my fault.
The self-imposed guilt was crushing, but undeterred, Ellen's quest for children would begin in full. Researching in those pre-internet days on microfiche in the basement of the Pikes Peak Library, she would scour medical journals for the words fallopian tubes, hoping to find any breakthroughs. That would lead her to a doctor in Vancouver, Canada, who successfully opened one of her fallopian tubes, the first of 9 major surgeries she would have in 4 years. Ellen would, in fact, later conceive, but she had an ectopic pregnancy, her fallopian tube rupturing. Ellen nearly dying as a result. Months would go by, and a second fallopian surgery, another breakthrough procedure using lasers in Connecticut. She would get another devastating infection, though, meaning both fallopian tubes would be lost. Routes of adoption and surrogacy both proved to be dead ends for Ellen and her husband.
Local television stations in Boston was trying to get a hold of us.
But then, as 1981 was about to close, news of a baby girl.
No? She's not used to sweets. This will be too much for her.
The first born in the U.S. via IVF.
And the minute she was born, I knew I would have a baby.
It gave you hope.
Yes, I knew that IVF had come to America, and I knew I would have a child.
Her doctor in Colorado Springs all the while had been watching medical trials. He connected Ellen with a group of doctors based at the University of Texas Health Science Center. This letter, a keepsake informing her she had been accepted into that program.
I was thrilled. I was walking on air every day. But when I was going through in vitro, only 2 other babies that we knew of had been born in the entire world. So I had no one to talk to.
Her excitement allowed her to push past the reactions.
40 years ago, a test tube baby was something to be feared. It was something that was wrong. It was morally illicit, as the Pope said.
The experiment was a success. Ellen and her husband Peter would finally have the gift that they had long awaited, their daughter Elizabeth. Articles and clippings tell of the story, but perhaps none as thorough as Ellen's new book. Daughter Elizabeth, now a mother herself, with a newfound understanding of what courage it took.
When I read the book, I was like, Mom, I'm not sure that I would have done that, didn't I? To know the process that she had to go through and the effort that my parents had to make to have me, it's really humbling to think that, you know, they really, really wanted me. Thank goodness I wasn't a total disappointment, hopefully.
One woman's courage that ultimately allowed many other families to have their own children.
And I want to mention the photographer who shot this piece. His name is Sam Page, was conceived via IVF, one of the millions of others. Ellen Casey's book, Unstoppable, Forging the Path to Motherhood in the Early Days of IVF, is now out. She says she wrote it to encourage other women who have also experienced infertility.
Pioneer.
Mm-hmm.